13, I got married at 19, and I graduated from a public university. Can we hear it for public university? And after I graduated from a public university, I started teaching in public elementary school. I taught special needs kids. My first child, Amelia, was born when I was 22, and then this story takes a funny hitch. When I was 24, I hauled off and went to law school. Now, I went to a public law school, so I could cover tuition, sorta, but I also had to figure out child care. And I just want to put it this way. Amelia's second birthday was my first day of law school. And it became critical in order to get her into the right child care program that she become dependably potty trained. So all I can say is I'm here today courtesy of 3 bags of M&Ms. Parents everywhere. I loved law school, but I was still also family. So I graduated from law school 9 months pregnant, which in those days meant 100% unemployable. But you work with what you got. So I took the bar and I hung out a shingle and I practiced law out of my living room with 2 little children underfoot, one of whom was dependably potty trained. I liked law practice, but it wasn't long before I went back to my first love, which is teaching. And I taught at 5 universities, always the money courses. I taught contract law, commercial law, bankruptcy. That's what I always teach. And did all of my research around the economics of success and failure, of families and small businesses, what happened in America. And about 20 years ago, my husband and I moved here to Massachusetts. Now, the reason for that was twofold. The first is that my husband Bruce was born and raised not far from here. In fact, his mother and dad are now buried. They were alive then, just over in Hyannis. And this was a chance for us to live near family. His brother and sister is still here, his sister's family. So we loved being able to move someplace where we could be near family. The second reason, I got a great job offer. And that's how I see the arc of my life. The daughter of a maintenance man who ended up as a fancy pants professor at Harvard Law School. America's a great country. Story, though, for 2 reasons. One, I think you have a right to know my heart and what it is that pulls on me. But the second is because you need to hear this part. I worry that my story is a story that is embedded in time. I grew up in an America that was still investing in kids like me. I grew up in an America that believed in expanding opportunity. And I worry that we're turning away from that. So here's how I see this story. I see this story as really starting with my grandparents and during the Great Depression, the grandparents of a lot of people in this room. During the Great Depression, a very dark time, America made 2 amazing decisions that shaped this country and that shaped the world. The first was about the importance of financial rules. Having a cop on the beat, having a ref in the game. And I've talked a lot about that and what happened on Wall Street and what happened with the big banks, and I'm glad to talk about it more. But I want to talk about a second part that I've had less opportunity to discuss, and that is the series of decisions that America made coming out of the Great Depression to invest in us, to invest in our children, to invest in our future. Think about those investments. That half-century after the Great Depression, we invested heavily in education, from Project Head Start through public schools, public universities, community colleges, a GI Bill, NDEA loans. We invested. We invested heavily in infrastructure. We built the national highway system. We invested in roads and bridges and expanded mass transit. in water and sewage and all those things, so we would have the right conditions that if you wanted to build a business, it was a great place to be able to do it. If you wanted to get to a job, you'd be able to do that. And we invested in research. We saw this as our comparative advantage as a people. We knew that we approached problems from lots of different ways. And so we built a basic research pipeline where the federal government invested, did its own research, invested in universities to do research, put money out there for private companies to do research, to create basic research, a pipeline that others could then pick up that research and turn it into businesses, turn it into cures for diseases. We said, there's our comparative advantage. And what did those 3 investments buy us? Well, look at the numbers. For half a century, adjusted for inflation, year over year, we watched GDP in the United States go up, and at the same time, we watched median family income go up at the same pace. In other words, as the country got richer, families got richer. As families got richer, the country got richer. It worked. And something else remarkable happened in that same time. We built a solid middle class. And we began to embrace wholeheartedly the notion, you work hard, you play by the rules, you'll have a real chance here. Now look, I don't kid myself. The 1950s, 1960s, there were a lot of us, a lot of people in this room, who were not welcome in certain educational institutions, in certain businesses. Women were cut out, African Americans were cut out, Hispanics were cut out, gays were cut out, Jews were cut out, lesbians were cut out, lots of groups couldn't play. But here was the difference. We had become so committed to the idea that opportunity expands, that people should be measured